Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efeni. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Tundu. Good morning, Leila. Let's start with these day newspapers. Lead stories. Supreme Islamic Council urges Buhari to declare emergency on insecurity. Presidency hits CAN, that's the Christian Association of Nigeria, says ransom payment allegation divisive. ACF, Afenifere Atiku fault president's claim on ratio of Boko Haram victims. Yes, that controversy started yesterday, but let's look at how other newspapers are reporting this story. The Punch newspaper, insecurity, CAN, NSCIA, that's the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, clash. U.S. asks federal government to protect Nigerians. Now there's a quote from both the Christian Association of Nigeria and the Council for Islamic Affairs. CAN, Nigerians already know that they are being killed by Boko Haram. Fulani militiamen, ISWAP, bandits, kidnappers, and their likes. Nigerians know also their religion and the angle they come from. We cannot deny the fact that not all Muslims are terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims. That's the Christian Association of Nigeria. And the report from the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, it is therefore the height of insincerity, wickedness, falsehood, and hypocrisy to suggest that Boko Haram is a ploy to eliminate Christians, a dummy being promoted by some dealers camouflaging as religious leaders to their followers and the outside world. Now, this controversy was further stoked by the figures which the presidency put forward to say 90%. That 90% of Boko Haram victims are Muslims and 10%, obviously, the rest, because I think there are some Nigerians who are neither Christians nor Muslims.
Many?
Yes.
Or few, but many.
So, yesterday we said that was very unnecessary.
I think so.
And you can see the kind of controversy it is bringing within the policy and an unnecessary diversion from the real thing.
All these controversies, yes, to use your phrase, amount to unnecessary diversion from the main issue. And it's a distraction that we can do without. Christian Association of Nigeria, the Islamic Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs, exchanging brickbats on the pages of newspapers. I mean, how does all of that, help the fact that, one, there is insecurity in Nigeria, and that, two, every life matters. As Pastor Adeboye put it the other day, every soul, is, a child of God, and that no one should be wasted, whether it is a Christian or Muslim or traditionalist or whoever. What is important is that everybody must come together, either Christian or Muslim, to work with government and the various agencies to see how the problem of insecurity and the needless waste of lives and properties can be stopped. Now, if that is the conversation, then we are having something useful. And then all that, controversy again, whether government should pay ransom or should not pay ransom, I think all of that is needless. Government should just do what it needs to do.
Absolutely.
Well, let's move over to the Guardian newspaper. The lead story is still the same controversy over victims of Boko Haram attacks. So we'll just skip that. Then beneath the paper, there's the second lead. Why U.S. attached conditions to return of $308 million Abacha loot. Yes, according to the Guardian, the reason why, just to read that, in spite of President Buhari's winning the 2018 African Union Anti-Corruption Champion Award, the United States seems not to trust the Nigerian government to properly utilize the $308 million General Abacha loot stashed away in Jesse, for which return agreement was signed recently.
Well, of course not. Apart from the possibility that it could be relooted, there's also the way previous Abacha loot has been spent. I've never liked that cash transfer. The
MOU we signed with Switzerland and the World Bank.
Yeah, they approved that they shouldn't have. That, what's it called, SIP? I just don't understand
Social investment
it.
program.
I don't understand it. How does that affect poverty in the real sense?
It's not translating.
We need infrastructure plans like this.
Like this. But that was the agreement they signed with
That's
the
what I'm
Swiss
saying.
authority.
So I don't know why they allowed that.
Wasn't that money used for trader money, you know, to support, you know, small-scale entrepreneurs?
Isn't that why you're not seeing
provide
results?
support for the indigent?
Give a man a fish, he's going to eat it in that one day. You've got to let him learn how to fish.
Exactly.
Even Mrs. Buhari said that money never got to Adamawa State. So really, how much of a success was it?
There were literally reports. News agencies had reports where they'd gone into villages where communities had received this money, and communities said it themselves that it made no difference to their lives.
Well,
and
part
it
of
was
that
never
money,
going
we were
to
told,
anyway.
was plowed into the social investment program. Trader money to support indigent small-scale entrepreneurs, also school feeding program. What we should always ask for, perhaps, is proper accounting and disclosure and transparency, so that, you know, the public can also, together with government, check the books.
Yeah, when the First Lady is saying Adamawa never saw any of the money, this is a much better way to spend that money, I feel.
Ruben, I was just about adding that maybe someday somebody will do forensic audit of that social investment program and how that money was
There
disbursed.
have been audits that have been done, though.
There's so much that could have been done with that money.
Honestly.
Let's move on to other newspapers. The Vanguard newspaper declares security emergency now. Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs tells Buhari. But let's just move on. Above the masthead, police filed terrorism charges against Wadume, army captain, others, at last.
I'd been wondering what happened to the Wadume story.
We were talking about the fact that we hadn't heard anything from the so-called panel that was set up, so it's good news to see that this is back on the front pages.
They will have their day in court.
Yes.
And Nigerians will follow that case very closely, because it's something that actually shocked the nation, where policemen on duty were ambushed and gunned down by
soldiers.
Yes, and then the kidnapped suspect was set free.
Yes.
I mean, it's completely bonkers.
Okay, the Daily Independent newspaper, NSA Minister CDS, that's the Chief of Defense, are absent as service chiefs meet reps. Senate grills IGP, the Inspector General of Police Adamu, for 4 hours, promises to back police with legislation. Fighting crime is everybody's responsibility. The Inspector General of Police is reminding all of us. Now, yesterday, they had that closed-door meeting with the security at the National Assembly. The Speaker of the House of Representatives is saying that, well, they will work on legislation to ensure that they give the security agencies more backing. So we're doing what we have to do, but we need to see the results. For now, it's like a lot of talking.
Well,
we're not seeing
many Nigerians, in the light of the emergence of the Western Nigeria Security Network and the Northern Nigeria Security Network, Operation Shege Kefasa, they call it, you know, are beginning to ask for state police. And I think that, you know, that debate may well be taken up by the National Assembly. Maybe the time has come
that will be more
for us to actually do state policing.
It's about time.
You know, and you still have the federal police, but let each region, you know, every state take charge of its own security.
Honestly.
It's an idea whose time has come.
Yeah.
And this was the recommendation of the 2014 National Political Reform Conference, you know, but it looks like it's a subject that is not going to disappear very soon.
And didn't the president refer to this in his letter that was published on Christianity Today?
Yes.
That we have such a small police force.
350,000,
yes,
maybe plus the 10,000 recently recruited. 360,000 policemen, with about a quarter of them, you know, doing VIP protection work. And carrying handbags for the wealth of important
people. The
people.
situation is untenable.
It's just too much.
Certainly.
If we just come to Lagos, Daily Independent newspaper, above the masthead, No going back on Okada Keke restriction, Lagos government. Task force breaks into homes to seize Okada. 34 suspects arrested for attacking policemen. Task force going into people's home to arrest and seize Okada. That's a new one because...
That's completely unnecessary because it's not even a blanket ban. It's a ban on certain areas. So why this isn't
honestly, it's just...
So I think because yesterday there were skirmishes around the Baja area, and it was quite serious.
Have the reports been confirmed that a schoolgirl was shot?
I cannot confirm that.
Yeah. There is a planned rally this weekend by Okada riders, on the streets of Lagos, an Occupy Lagos initiative, to protest the position of the government. But the government, should stop boasting that, there will be no going back. It's not as if government is in competition with the people. I mean, if a policy has been introduced, you take feedback. Yes. And if there is need to review, the outcomes of your policy, then you review the outcomes. You review your position. But to take a rigid stance and say there will be no going back, it's not a good way to phrase it. Otherwise, you give the impression that the government is deliberately vindictive.
Yeah. While on there, I got 2 messages
now,
about
if we just go to the I newspaper in the UK, lead story, Trump survived impeachment to stand for 4 more years. President found not guilty on charge of abuse of power and obstruction, expectedly.
But can I just say, we talked about Mitt Romney earlier. I forgot to raise another issue. Pierre Delecto, I'm going to be calling him henceforth. Remember, he had this...
You are so hard on...
I'm not hard on him. I'm just being completely realistic.
He said he's done it on principle so that he will be remembered by posterity that he stood up against abuse of power.
He set up an anonymous Twitter account and named it Pierre Delecto to troll President Trump. Mitt Romney hates Trump. So it's a personal vendetta. It's got nothing to do with principle.
Well, by the way, Efeni, he already has a place in history. He's the first senator in American history to vote against the president from his own party.
It takes a personal beef to make that happen.
Thank you.
It takes principles.
Oh, yeah, right. Pierre Delecto, yeah, right.